Hi there, Cosmic Family. My name is Leal, and today, October 9th, the moon is going through Taurus, but tomorrow, early on October 10th, the moon moves to Gemini in connection with Uranus retrograde. And as Uranus is in a sextile with Pluto in Aquarius, also with Saturn and Neptune, they are conforming this great sextile or minor grand trine. It is a configuration. But Pluto is days away from becoming direct, so all the whole week, the whole next week, it is going to stay direct, stationary. This means that it is not going to move from mathematical degree. And this is one of the moments in which we feel the most in our individual experience a transpersonal planet that rules collective processes. Therefore, many people could be, overcharged in their minds because Aquarius is air, over-focused in things linked with fears, things that are removing, and depending how we are approaching them, they could cause, energetic drains or not. I'm going to talk about that later. I wanted to mention this because some people could experiment certain difficulties to sleep. And we are coming from this full moon that could also represent insomnia for some people or a lot of tiredness. Today I'm going to talk about ourselves to the present through the body, giving us a space to enjoy through the senses, the food, the earth, taking a bath, whatever thing. It is also about recognition of what is valuable for oneself. This is one of the houses of Venus. Venus right now is in Virgo, and yesterday perfected a sextile with Jupiter in Cancer, which is still active. It is a transit that offers opportunities, whether this is brought, by the cosmos, and we are making the choice of taking them, whether this is a manifestation, a visible manifestation of growth in certain areas, something that is expanding, or because we are realizing of what is required right now to connect with these new opportunities or forms of growth, as reconfiguring visions, beliefs, and conceptions that we sustained through programmings, because we are truly understanding that they are not nourishing us emotionally in relationships and in things linked with resources. For example, there could be certain dynamics with a Jupiter in Cancer that have to do with occupying a role of a mother or a father regarding some people that don't correspond to ourselves. And many people could sustain that because in its family core, in its family system, their family system, they were the ones that hold it or sustained other adults when they were children in their emotional processes. So when the person realizes that and changes the dynamic in certain relationships, literally, could feel lighter, could feel the space that is created and the freedom Jupiter that is that brings. What happens is that Venus is very, very close right now of the opposition with Saturn retrograde in Pisces and with Neptune retrograde in Aries. With Neptune, it is going to be perfected when Venus moves to Libra. So on Sunday, I told you about, in general lines, what is this about. But as both of them are retrograde, we are talking about things that we have been sustaining until this point in the path. And we are talking about an external situation, whether this is a relationship or experiences in which we are projecting topics related with our own value and resources, that we are called right now to develop maturity, to assume the responsibility. This means to respond, to answer from the things that we identify right now that are truly building desires of the soul. What happens is that depending on the individual experience, could be that this opposition for some people is showing through limits that are very determinant, boundaries, experiences that represent a very concrete lesson, at times could be painful too. This is an aspect of Saturn. This doesn't mean that it's going to be this way for everyone. That those things in which they were investing their energy perhaps weren't a desire of the soul, but a projection of certain conditionings that were leading them to renounce to their inner voice, and to what truly could mean plenitude. For example, this opposition could be the end of a contract, in a job with Venus in Virgo, because that is not truly aligned with the path of the person, but in some cases would be the person, the one that is taking the decision, and the one that is choosing to respond to what their soul need, his or her soul need, perhaps dealing with fears or uncertainties, because tensions with Saturn, we experiment them with this quality of challenge, in some aspect, because it is precisely the calling of develop this maturity. And in other cases, it is an external sin, the one that is coming because the person was in denial of reality. This could apply to relationships too. There are, several alchemies regarding this. Other perspective could be with a Venus in Virgo, that the body, the health, through symptoms that are reflecting that we cannot keep sustaining something because that is not representing self-care, because that is a renounce to our own growth, because there is excess of energy that is being invested in ways of relating with other people or with the spaces that are not making us feel good. And many of these energetical investments that are done in renouncement to oneself are coming from this seeking of validation that could be unconscious, wanting to feel needed by others because, perhaps we have that conception of love, or, these kind of things, but they are not truly ways of helping or sharing, because there is this energetical drain. Therefore, that is not contributing with the other person either. Many times the best thing that we can do with for other person is just simply make a space for them to take the responsibility for their situations and their inner self. This doesn't mean that we cannot help, but we have to find the way of helping that is truly aligned with our souls. Also, as Neptune retrograde in Aries is participating, this could mean, to descend from the cloud of idealization or expectations that are not being accomplished because they are projected in others or in situations from, these voids, this lack, that we have to attend. I mean, if I am depositing all the burden or the responsibility to my partner of making me happy, it is the inner child, the one that is wanting love from a father or a mother. So now as an adult, we have to be in charge of that. But also, in other perspective, could be like notice that there is no reciprocity in certain relationships, that the other person is not manifesting the capacity to assume a commitment, which is Saturn, to build, to grow in a relationship, going through challenges, because challenges are part of life. And, the pretension of the other person to be different right now, it is a fantasy of the inner child that we have to dissolve to connect with what it is and to decide and build from that space. So Saturn is going to say, with quotation marks, we have to put a boundary. There is a thing that we have to change or to grow in, a way of relating with ourselves that clearly is going to be reflected in the way that we are relating with life and with other people. Also, this tension between Venus and Saturn could be in other of its polarities, a phase where we are feeling that things are too slow, where there are excessive focus in results and frustration for the things that are not materialized yet. Could also represent, certain challenges, obstacles, a delay, things like this that are testing the commitment that we have with our own spiritual growth beyond the results, and to recognize if we are truly choosing a path that right now is felt aligned with the soul. So if those states of frustration, pain, or negative perception are emerging, it is an opportunity to deepen in them, because when we are attaching to a desire and that produces sadness and the sensation of lack, which is not the same that, moving forward over our desires and the things that we want to build without resignation, but taking life as it is and enjoying of, the simple things. When those states of frustration appear, it is probably because with Venus, we are depositing in that result our value. This means I'm going to be enough when that thing happens. Other people are going to, appreciate me if I achieve this. I'm going to enjoy Venus life if this happens. And that is an illusory narrative, because when there is, an imbalance that is not resolved, a sensation of lack, no achievement is enough. So this is the opportunity to cultivate that love towards oneself and towards others from the acceptance of what we are right now, and knowing that growth is a potential that we have the chance to unfold in this present moment. It is more about giving value to the tiny steps that we are giving every day with consistency, because even if we don't see immediate results, that is what truly consolidate great changes in our lives. Thank you, everyone. See you in the next video.